Hello everyone, welcome to the Cozy Soul Knitting Podcast. This is episode 5, I'm pretty sure. If you are new to my channel and you haven't seen my face before, hello, I'm Saoirse. I'm a knitter. I also am a tarot reader, writer, and I am coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. I live in the Seattle area. That's a little intro to me. I kind of consider myself a little bit of a beginner knitter. I've been knitting for years and years, kind of on and off, but I never really got into garments, knitting, sweaters and things like that. So I really feel like the types of projects that I'm undertaking, I'm very, I kind of consider myself more of a beginner, but I feel like I'm also at this point very much moving out of the beginner phase. I know that's not the right word. I feel like, just with every project I am gaining a lot more confidence in my knitting skills. I know that there's still so much for me to learn, but yeah, so I kind of consider myself like intermediate beginner, maybe advanced beginner, something like that. So there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about before we get into this podcast, but of course we're going to talk about finished objects. We're going to talk about what's currently on my needles. We're going to talk about what I'm planning on casting on next, hopefully in the near future. And then also acquisitions. I don't have very many acquisitions, but I do have a few to talk about, just a couple. And other than that, my stomach is growling like crazy, so if you hear it in this video, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't really think about it, like, by the time that I was done setting up to film and everything, I didn't think about the fact that I was, it's lunchtime and I'm hungry, and so I have my coffee from this morning. It's a venti Americano with half and half, and there's still quite a bit left, but it's not helping with the hunger. Usually does, and it's not. And I'm also having however many shots they put into a venti, which I don't normally have from Starbucks, so if I'm a little hyper or anything, that's why. Also, I am pretty sure I have COVID. I don't know. I feel like those at-home tests, I don't trust them, because they say that, like, if it's a positive, they're pretty confident that you did, that you do have it, but if it's negative, I was reading online, it's kind of a toss-up, like they don't really know if that's true or not, like if it's giving you a false negative or not. So anyways, so I tested negative, but I feel like I have the symptoms of COVID. I have vertigo, and I also am just incredibly fatigued all the time. So, and I felt the way that I felt last time that I had COVID, which I also did not test positive for when I had it before, but I was like positive that I had it. So so things are a little weird today, so please bear with me. Hopefully it won't annoy you. I feel very erratic and like just my brain is not functioning on all cylinders today. It's one of those days. And I also hit my head on a shelf when I was like setting up to film, so that was fun. And I don't think it's probably fine. I didn't hit it that hard, but I was like, might have taken off my makeup in that spot, but hopefully it didn't. See, can you tell we're very just off the rails today, but that might always kind of be the case anyways. So let's address the elephants in the room. If you are a returning viewer, you probably noticed I'm filming in a completely different space than I've ever filmed a knitting podcast. If you watch my vlogs, if you're someone who has stuck with me from the beginning of this channel and the craziness and, again, erratic and inconsistentness, that's not a word, of this channel, then you've seen me in this room before, but you probably can't tell. So this used to be what I considered my office. I work from home, and I had my, standing desk in here, and that was pretty much it. Like I had some shelves for odds and ends, and a bookcase and my desk, and that was pretty much all that was in here. And at one point I kind of redid it a little bit, kind of moved my desk around to make it a little bit more exciting, and yeah, but then I didn't ever really spend very much time in here because I really only work at my desk when I want to stand at my desk, and also when I have work meetings. And so I was only in here for like probably like a couple hours a day each work day. I never came in here on the weekends. I was not really making good use of this space, and so I decided I would move my work desk out of this room. It's just in my living room now because I usually am working in my living room anyways, and if I have to hop on a meeting, I'll just, you know, I have a virtual background so like people can't see the mess that is my living room. And it just, yeah, it's been working out really well, but I wanted to make this room my craft room because I wanted a place to put this shelf, this cabinet from IKEA, and I have the glass doors open so you can kind of see the yarn and stuff, and I just thought I would film in here, do my knitting podcast in here, and it would just be a nice cozy little room. And I have like an armchair, cozy little armchair that I stole from my parents. Well, you know, I asked them if I could have it, they said yes, so it's all good. And I've got this brand new IKEA cabinet that my friends, two of my friends came over and helped me put together. I'm just so excited to actually have a little craft space that's like cozy and have a yarn cabinet where I can display my yarn and actually see it all, and, you know, kind of, I don't know, it's like decor while it's not being used for a project. So I'm just really happy with it. Anyways, so that's the little elephant in the room, because previously I was filming in the room with the dark green walls, and while I personally love that room and I love the moodiness of it, it's not the best to film in. I just feel like it's too dark. Let me know how you like the setup. If there's anything that I need to tweak or change, please let me know. Give me some feedback. But yeah, let's hop into finished objects. The only one that I have right now I am wearing, and it is my Lento. I'm so excited. I'm finally, can we take a minute, guys? I'm finally wearing a garment. You know, I always watch so many knitting podcasts, and every time they're like, this is what I'm wearing, and it's always something that they made, and I've never been able to do that before because this is only the second sweater that I've worn, and my first one didn't turn out exactly as I was hoping, and so I haven't really been wanting to wear it. I have a little update on that though, so I will talk about that in a minute, but this is my Lento. Let me get my hair out of the way. So unfortunately the neckline kind of got messed up, or I don't, maybe it didn't, I need to look at the picture again. I don't know if this is how it's supposed to look, but before I blocked it, it was more, you know, I feel like a regular neckline, and then when I blocked it, it just like, I don't know, it stretched or grew or something, which was unfortunate because I don't hate this, but I don't love it. I just feel like I don't have the shoulders for this type of neckline. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm just being extra critical, but I wanted it more up here. So I will put some clips of me kind of showing it to you guys. But the other thing I just want to make sure is it? Yes. So I'll just kind of get up here and close and personal. Those are the raglan decreases. I do have the folded neckline, and I hopefully, I don't think it's see-through. Otherwise I was just showing you my bra through it, but I don't think it's see-through. I was really worried that it was going to be, but it's not, I don't think. So, but I'll kind of show you guys what it looks like. It is cropped, so yeah, I made it cropped. The sleeves are a little shorter than I wanted them to be, unfortunately, but it's not bad. I like when my sleeves can kind of do that, but they can't really without me kind of, you know, making my shoulder all weird. So but yeah, so this is my Lento, and I'm like pairing it with like gold jewelry. I'm obsessed with the color. I really do like it. The only thing I don't like is the neckline, and I don't know if it'll grow on me, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if this is something I could put, You guys can maybe let me know in the comments if you think that this is something that I could put an elastic thread through and kind of cinch it just a little bit. By the way, before I forget, I did knit this up in Purl Soho linen quill held with Purl Soho Tussock, which is a silk and mohair blend. And the linen quill yarn that I used, the colorway was blue blue, and the Tussock colorway was Lapis Lazuli. So it kind of created this really beautiful kind of royal blue, kind of sapphire blue. I am obsessed with it. And I don't know, I was really craving like a bolder color. I feel like I see so many people knitting up a lot of like neutrals, and I want to do a lot of neutrals because I do love my neutrals, but I was just craving, I think because of the winter time, I was weirdly craving some more bold colors. And yeah, the only thing I would change, if I were to knit this again, I would knit the sleeves longer. I thought I had it. I thought I like measured myself. I was like, it's gonna be great, but I think because I was measuring myself instead of having someone else measure me, I kind of didn't quite get the sleeve length correct. So I want to knit them a little bit longer if I were to knit this again. And then I saw Rebecca from the Creabea Knitting Podcast. I literally just watched her. In fact, I don't think I finished it before I was like, oh yeah, it's time for me to like get some stuff done today. But I remember her talking about her second Lento, and she was saying that she didn't do the folded neckline, so she just kind of knit the neckline, I think like probably half, well actually I don't know how she did it, but I think it looks kind of like she just knit halfway and then didn't do the other half and then fold it and, you know, knit together and everything. So I think I might do that for next time, because I agree that I feel like this part is, and I think that might be why it's stretched out a little bit, is that it's a little bit heavier than the rest of the sweater. And Rebecca, you know, had mentioned it's a very dainty sweater, and I totally agree. And I feel like this is just a little bit bulkier, a little bit heavier than I feel like goes with the rest of the sweater. And I think when I was wet blocking it, like I, you know, put it in a little bath with some wool wash and stuff, and when I took it out, I think the water really weighed it down and like dragged this out. So I'm thinking next time I make a Lento, which there will be a next time, that I will do it how Rebecca did it with the not doing the folded neckline. I kind of want to try that out because I'm not really a huge fan of this either. I don't hate it, I just don't know that it necessarily adds anything to the sweater. I don't know. I don't know. I'm torn. Like I feel like it looks good, it's just very stretched out. And I don't think it's supposed to be like that. Maybe I'm wrong. I need to look at the picture again. But I just feel like it might look better with a non-folded neckline, maybe for my personal shape. The only other thing to mention, I think, with this is that I had to do magic loop on the sleeves, which I think for some reason with my novice sweater, I didn't have to do magic loop, and I didn't have really a tough time with the sleeves. But this one I had to do magic loop, and there's one sleeve, I don't know which one, where you can see kind of that seam that kind of, you know, that you get sometimes when doing magic loop, or at least I get it sometimes when I'm doing magic loop, but I don't think it's super noticeable. And then I think the other thing that went kind of wrong was my binding is too tight, so I really have to like be very careful and strategic about how I put this on. And I did the binding, I tried on, like I finished my sleeves, I tried it on, because I've been trying on the body as I was going, so it was like, it's perfect, it fits. I bound off without even thinking about it. I did my sleeves, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm done, and I went to put it on, and I couldn't get it over my shoulders. Like the binding was too tight. And I personally feel like my shoulders are kind of like sloped, so I feel like my binding was like really, really tight, because I don't have like particularly broad shoulders, I feel like. So I'm like, I feel like I could have shimmied into it. So it was really, really tight. And then so I took out the binding, which was an experience. It was definitely easier than I thought it was going to be, but I was so stressed while I was doing it. And then I went to redo it and I had to get more yarn, like I had to, you know, tie, or not tie yarn together, but I had to like, you know, join a new ball of yarn to do it, you know, because I didn't have enough on my bind off tail to keep going. And so I redid it, and I went up a needle size. I was trying to be so loose with my tension. And then I tried it, you know, and I thought, oh, it's fine. And I tried it on and it was fine. And then somehow after blocking, after weaving in my ends and all of that, it's somehow not fine and it's hard to get on. So let me know, how do you bind off the body of your sweater? Because I'm someone who, like, if a pattern says to do it a specific way, I want to do it that way, because I'm nervous that, like, for some reason there's some, you know, if I tried a different bind off, that maybe there's something that I don't know about, and that's why they didn't say to do that bind off and they said to do that one instead. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to, like, stick with patterns because I'm like, I don't know. But if you have, like, a go-to more stretchy bind off that you use for the bodies of your sweaters, please let me know what it is, and whether you think it's something that I can just kind of do for everything, or are there times where you wouldn't want to use it. Like, give me some details, maybe, if you have some insight, because I don't want to have this happen again. I was so nervous because it's, you know, you do all the work on the sweater and then you can't put it on because of, like, one thing. That's just frustrating. And I also lost a lot of steam on it after that point because, you know, I was done. You know, I was done with the project, and then I had to, like, go back and redo it. So anyways, this took me, I feel like, about a month to complete. I definitely had weeks, you know, maybe a week in that month where I didn't work on it at all, but other than that, it kind of took me a while. I was working on other projects, of course, so, like, you know, it wasn't just this that I was knitting on in that month, but it did take me longer than I thought it was going to be because it was working up so quickly, and I saw other people, you know, doing, like, they were, like, already on their second Lento and being done with it, and I'm like, I'm still on my first one. Enough about this Lento. I've been talking about it for quite some time, but again, it's the Lento. I feel like I don't know how to pronounce the designer's name, so I'm just going to put it on the screen. I can't remember her last name, or their last name, so I'll put it on the screen, but it was a pattern for Laine magazine, and you can find it on Ravelry and all of those places, and I did do it as part of the Let's Lento Cowl that was being hosted by Rebecca from the Crayon Knitting Podcast and Amy Palco from the Meaningful Stitch Podcast. And I think by the time this video goes up, I think the cowl will be over. So I really need to post a picture. I posted, like, a whip picture of this on my Instagram, but I didn't post, like, a final because I've been sick and lazy. So, and I don't know how to take selfies of myself, like, of my torso. So that's gonna be interesting. Anyways, enough rambling on this project, but this is my only finished object that I have. It was a delight to knit this, I'm not gonna lie, like, it was fun. There's some things I would change for next time. I do want to make, I've seen, like, 3 people, I feel like Meha, Amy, and Rebecca, I think, have all made a speckled, like, kind of white or, like, beige, kind of speckled Lento, and I want one too. So I want to make another one, and I don't think I'd make it cropped. I think I'd make it more full length, just to have something a little different. But anyways, yeah, so I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on the neckline, and let me know, I also think, like, even though I did the short rows, I feel like it doesn't sit very well on me. So I'm having some fit issues, but it could be my body shape, it could be my knitting technique, it could be so many different things. So this is only my second sweater, so I'm just gonna kind of try to make note of the things I do like about my sweaters that I'm making, things I don't like, and then kind of try to piece together, like, which techniques result in a good fitting sweater, you know, which don't. I also think too, this could have been a little smaller. Like I maybe could have knit the size, one size down, and that might help with some of the fit issues. But I think it's had a good amount of positive ease. So I'm like, I don't really know. Okay, officially done talking about my Lento, except I feel like I just said it weird. So now we are officially done with my Lento. Let's move on to my whips. I have 2. Is that right? No, I have 3. I lied. I had 3. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about my first whip. This one's a little messy. When I hold it up, you're gonna be like, what is going on there? So this is my, what is it called? The Prism blankets. It is a pattern that was designed for Purl Soho. I will put the designer name on the screen because I don't know it off the top of my head. But this is what it is. Oh, what did I just draw? Okay, sorry. My needle stopper went trying to run away on me, and again, my Prism blanket, I'm trying to not lose my needle stoppers and trying to, oh my goodness, hold it up so you guys can actually see my progress. So I am done with 2 of the squares and I now am on the 3rd square on the 2nd triangle of the 3rd square. This pattern is free, by the way, on Purl Soho, so like I feel like I can talk about it in as much detail as I want to. Okay, so backing up a little bit, I was working on this in my last podcast episode, so I'll try not to be too repetitive, but I am knitting this for my dad because if you notice, these colors are very much University of Washington Husky colors, and he is an alumni and very big Husky football fan, so for his birthday I'm knitting him this blanket. At first, okay, do you guys see this? It like keeps falling back and like it's interesting. My first time wearing it, I'm like, I don't like it. But it looks so good, but it's like also not fitting properly. Sorry. If you watched my last podcast, all of the progress that I had on this project, I actually ripped out. So even though I think I had gotten maybe to this triangle, I had to rip back all of it. The first thing is that like this triangle, the first one, I did perfect. The second triangle I messed up on, but I was like, it's fine, I'll just keep going. And then that kind of offset this one. I think I had too many rows on this. So what just happened? It got so dark. Okay, sorry guys, the camera got like really dark all of a sudden. I think because I was holding up darker colors, or I honestly don't know. Anyways, so yeah, anyway, I had too many rows on this triangle here, and then that made this triangle off too. And then I was not joining properly, so I don't know if you guys will be able to tell from this angle, from this distance, but the joins that they have you do where you're like picking up stitches as you knit, the way that you do it creates this very flat join. It did it again. It did it again. Why? Oh, it's overheating. That's lovely. Okay guys, I don't know what's going on with my camera. It keeps getting really dark, and the only way I can fix it is by like stop recording and try it, you know, turn it on again, and oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm like, I also don't know if it's because I'm holding this up and it's trying to adjust for the colors or not, but I think it was also trying to overheat, so. All that to say, I was doing the joins wrong, and it just didn't look very neat. It still kind of doesn't, but it's, I was looking at, so Purl Soho, like the Purl Soho team did a Zoom knitting thing where like they kind of demonstrated some stuff, and I didn't actually join that, but I watched the replay that they posted on YouTube, and mine looks like theirs, but for some reason when I look at it I'm like, it's just not that neat. But I'm pretty sure I'm doing it right, so I'm hoping it'll kind of block out. I'm also thinking because this is gonna be such a big blanket, you're really not going to be looking up close and personal, and I think like maybe if as I'm editing this video looking at this join, I'll probably be like, that looks great. So I think it's just because I'm like up close and personal to it that I see it looking kind of uneven. So that's this blanket. I feel like I don't want to talk about it too much more than I already have. I feel a lot more confident that I'm knitting it properly after watching that YouTube Zoom replay, because they actually, so like they have a tutorial on their website, but they're using a completely different yarn. It's like a larger weight of yarn, bigger needles, so it's kind of hard to like translate that to good wool, which I believe is, I'm pretty sure this is a DK weight, so it's just like harder to see. And also the darker colors, harder to see where to pick up, you know. So it was nice that I think they were using a darker color in the video. They were using, you know, this yarn, so it's just easier to kind of tell like, oh, that's actually where I'm supposed to, okay, now I get it. Now I get how to pick it up. So if you're by any chance oh god, I'm taking the knitting stoppers off again. So if you're by any chance also knitting this and having trouble with the joining, I would definitely recommend watching that Zoom replay if you haven't already. There's also some other good tidbits of information that they shared in that video, and they had like people come on and kind of show you know, their blankets, and some of the people that were kind of showing their projects had also some good tips and tricks, so it was kind of cool to watch it. Yeah, and I don't know if they did another one. I think maybe they did another one, and this cowl is running from, well, I mean, it already started, but it's running to April 30th, I believe, so, which is when I need to basically have mine done if I want to give it to my dad on his birthday, because his birthday is like the beginning of May. So that's my first whip, and I'm hoping to concentrate on it now that I have my Lento done. I'm really hoping to concentrate on this a lot more. But the other thing I was gonna say is that I do a lot of my knitting over at my parents' house. I was bringing this over and working on it because I was pretty sure my dad wouldn't, even if he saw kind of the color combinations, he probably wouldn't really put two and two together that it was something for him. Now that it's getting bigger, I feel like he'll be able to kind of tell, and so I haven't been bringing it over to my parents' house, which means I don't have as much time to knit on it, but I'm hoping to kind of maybe monogamously knit on it a little bit more, so I can get it done in time, because I feel like it, you know, it is a blanket, like it's a big blanket, so it's, I mean, it could be bigger, but it's like a throw size, and it's gonna take a while is what I'm trying to say. Whew, okay, also I just feel like as I'm wearing this, I'm like really feel very fidgety with like the neckline, so I don't know. I don't know if this will be one that I end up loving. We'll see. Alright, so my second whip, let me get it out here. I have it's all like shoved into the yarn bowl. This is my Naima pullover. Again, I will put the designer and everything on the screen. This is not a free pattern, just reminding myself to not give anything too much away. So it's hard to see right now because they're, you know, it's all bunched on the cables, but I am into the yoke. I am done with the short row shaping. I'm doing the raglan increases. This pattern has a lot of increases, I feel like, as opposed to like this, for example. I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe that's because it starts a lot smaller. So there's this eyelet kind of lace detailing going down the side. Again, I don't know if you can really tell. Again, it's really bunched up on my cable. Also with this, the progress you saw in my previous podcast, I had to rip out all of that. A couple of things happened. One was that I knew that I had messed up in a few places on the collar, and so I just kind of wanted to restart it anyways. And then I'm pretty sure, so this pattern is a little weird in that I personally, my gauge was so different from the gauge that the pattern calls for. I don't know if it's the yarn, I don't know if it's my tension, I don't know what the deal is, but I would have had to go up needle sizes quite a bit to get the right gauge. So I went up a couple needle sizes. I got like within a couple of stitches of the gauge for this project, and I was like, you know what, it's fine, it's gonna be fine. And then I went up a size. I think I had like maybe 1 or 2 stitches too many in my gauge, so I went up a size for my for the size that I was knitting. I went up a size. I'm just hoping that that'll end up being okay, and I think it will. And why else did I redo it? Oh yeah, and then for some reason, when I had originally started this project, I had started using the bigger needles, and you're supposed to, the collar is knit with a smaller size of needle, and I was using like the main size that you're gonna knit the rest of the body in, and so I basically was making it way too big. I just decided, I was like, I'm just gonna rip the whole thing out and start over, and I had learned, I feel like there were a few things that I was learning as I was doing the collar. I don't want to get too like into the weeds there, but there were just some things where I was like, oh, when I do it this way, like, okay. So I wanted to just redo it, having more experience, I guess. And yeah, pretty much while I was working on the Lento, I didn't really touch this at all. And yeah, so I decided to start fresh. I feel like I totally forgot with my previous whip that is being knit in Purl Soho good wool. I just purchased one of their bundles from their website, so like the colors were all, you know, bundled together and everything to make that specific blanket, so just FYI. And then this yarn is a Malabrigo Rios in the shade Reflecting Pool. You can see some of the skeins there that I have yet to wind up, or the hanks. And yeah, so this is my Naima pullover, and I'm hoping to have it done by the next time I film an update. I feel like this part is always the part that takes me the longest, but maybe because it's like more involved, and I think once I get down to the body, it'll hopefully go a lot faster. But also if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm really enjoying knitting this. I feel spoiled knitting Malabrigo yarn. It just feels so good. It's so soft, it's kind of squishy, it's like, it's just a nice feeling on the needles, and I'm using my Cypher needles from Lychee, and it just is feels like a very luxurious knitting experience. I'm really enjoying it. So that's that project, that whip. I don't think I have anything else to say about it. And I probably, I tend to ramble longer than I need to about these things, so I'm trying not to do that this time, hopefully. Also, just an update, I'm really liking my Cypher needles. I heard some people saying that they really didn't like their Cypher needles, so I just wanted to say I personally really like them, and they have not turned my hands blue. I heard that that's an issue. I have not had a problem with it, so just putting that out there. I'm putting my 2 cents out there. I think they're really good needles. I know there's people in kind of, you know, and I mean, they're knitting needles, it's like whatever, like who cares, use whatever you like, but I'm just putting it out there that I really like them. So if you were thinking about getting them, but you've been on the fence, I'm just putting that out there for you. Do you need them? No, but I like them. So, and I'll say the reason I like them, just to be specific here, is because I have my Chagu needles. I really like those, but there's no grip, and I feel like sometimes my stitches are just out of control. The Lychee Cypher needles, it's like they still get the benefits of metal needles, but without like the loss of control. If that makes sense, they have a little bit more grip to them, which I really like, so that's why I like them. But maybe that would make you not like them. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's different, so. So then my last whip, if you're sensing a theme here, is also one that I got kind of far on it, and I had to rip back the whole thing. Which was really sad, and completely start over, and this is a pain to cast on. So I am knitting, this literally looks like nothing. I am knitting the Purl Soho Eyelet Cowl. This was something, a total impulse. I saw them market it, they were having a sale on the yarn, and they, you know, were like, you know, use this pattern, da 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 da, and this is just it's all tangled. So it's kind of all crazy, but it doesn't look like much right now. So I had knit about 1.5 inches. Sorry for my voice, by the way, it's getting really raspy and gross. but this is lace weight yarn. It's the Purl Soho spindle yarn, I believe. This is in the colorway Golden Meadow, really, really pretty. Anyway, so basically the first half of the cowl is just stockinette, and you knit it for 11 inches, but because of, you know, how small the needles are and the yarn and everything, it's taking forever. And there are 448 stitches on these needles, so I feel like it takes me forever to do one round. So I got like an inch and a half probably, before I realized that I had somehow twisted before I joined. And I was being so careful. Like, I double checked it, triple checked it. I was so careful, and I still somehow had a twist before I joined it. For a bit there, I was convinced that I had somehow twisted it after I had joined it. I don't know if that's possible. I'm trying to wrap my brain around how that could work, but like, that's how convinced I was that I had straightened everything out before I joined it. In any case, I had to frog it and cast on again, and casting on that many stitches is such a pain. But you know, I did it, and then I was like, just, I don't know, I've literally been checking even now that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can't possibly twist it. I have been checking and making sure that it's all, you know, not twisted. But it's really hard to tell because it's stockinette, so it's like rolling up on itself and it's getting, you know, kind of all bunched up on the cable and everything. This is my kind of go-to knit. It doesn't look like it, but it's my go-to knit for when I just need something easy. So I've been working on it in the mornings mostly. I've also been working on it, you know, if I have a meeting, a long meeting at work, and my camera's off and I can just knit while I'm listening. It's getting a lot of love, but it doesn't look like it because it's knitting up so slowly. Because it's, you know, the nature of the yarn and the needle size and everything. And I feel like my life is just a tangled mess with like all of my whips and my hair. Everything gets tangled. That is my last whip. I don't feel like I have anything else to say about this. I am hoping to get this done soon. I told my mom, because I'm knitting this one for myself, but then I was gonna knit one for my mom when I had, you know, worked out all the kinks on my own. Then I would knit her one, and I think it's gonna be a late birthday present because her birthday is actually before my dad's birthday, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this anytime soon. So I don't know when I'm gonna be able to start hers. Just, yeah, we'll see how it all works out, but I was like, dang, I didn't realize it was gonna be so slow to work up. But it's also great because now I always, for at least the foreseeable future, I'm always gonna have a nice, you know, stockinette in the round project to work on whenever I need something just super simple. I feel like I have to have a project like that at all times because sometimes I just want to knit, but I don't have like the brain capacity to keep track of, sorry, this sweater is just not fitting. But I don't have like the brain capacity to keep track of rows or like all that stuff. So having a nice stockinette in the round is like a must for me. Yeah, so that is also why I have not casted on any socks, because that's kind of why I want to have some socks on my needles at all times, because it's mostly stockinette in the round, and I feel like, but with that, I just feel like I don't really have the time to work on socks right now, so yeah. But I also need another pair of socks, so we'll see. But the second half of the cowl, like when you switch colors, then it becomes, it has like an eyelet lace design, so that'll be more involved, and then I might want a pair of socks on my needles to have, again, that stockinette in the round. But it also depends on like if I'm at the point in a sweater, by that point that's just stockinette in the round, maybe I won't need to have socks. So I'm getting way ahead of myself, but yeah, future plans are basically continuing to work on these projects. I'm trying to think of what sweater I would like to cast on next, or what garment I would like to cast on next. I have these two skeins up here of the Noro Kakigori yarn. I would really like to start a project with these because they're, I don't remember how much cotton, but oh yeah, it's 50% cotton, 30% silk, then 10% viscose and 10% polyamide. So I feel like this yarn would be a good spring, like summer yarn, maybe. I would like to knit a garment in this. I was thinking, I don't know what the weight is for the No Frills sweatshirt or whatever from Petite Knit. I was thinking of looking into that. I don't know if this yarn would, like, if I would get gauge with this yarn or not, because I literally haven't looked at that pattern at all, so I don't know what it calls for. But this is a, shoot, what you, I think this is a DK weight yarn or light worsted. I am not 100% positive on that, but if you have any pattern suggestions for me to look into for this yarn, if you've ever knit with this yarn and you have a pattern that you just absolutely loved this for, please let me know, because I do want to make some sort of garment with it, and yeah, I think that's what I would like to cast on next in terms of sweaters. But I also don't think I will be doing anything soon. I do also, this yarn up here, the Hedgerow from Purl Soho, I did buy that specifically for a sweater, so I could also cast that on next. Also, some other ideas that I have for new cast-ons. So I have this knitting yarn from Purl Soho. If you're sensing a theme, I really do like Purl Soho. I need to branch out. Like, I have a lot of their yarn. I need to branch out, but I do really like them so far. Anyways, this is their knitting yarn, and I was looking at it. This is the right gauge, I believe, or sorry, the right yarn weight for the Lanark sweater by Rebecca from the Cray Band Knitting Podcast. And I did want a brown one, so I don't know. I have a sweater's quantity's worth of yarn for this, so I don't know if I'll end up with the right yardage, and I don't know if I'll end up with the right gauge, but I was thinking about when that pattern comes out, I'm of course buying it right away, because I think that is literally, that pattern I think is the one that I've been looking forward to the most out of any pattern I've ever seen. Like, that's the one where I need to knit that. I want to knit it right now. It's not out yet. I think it's going to be released soon though, and once it is, I'll take a more in-depth look and see if this yarn is what I want to use for it. But I do have a sweater's quantity worth of this yarn. So and I did not buy it with anything in mind. I just purchased it. So yeah. I think this would make a lovely Lanark if it works out gauge wise and all of that. But yeah, so there's that. Those are things I'm thinking about casting on soon. Let's talk about acquisitions. So I was not planning on buying anything after my last I bought a lot of things in my last podcast. You saw me, like, I had a bunch of acquisitions if you watched it. And so I was trying to do kind of a yarn diet, not really buy any more yarn, because I obviously have a ton of stuff to work on, and I don't really want to have a huge stash. Like, I want to have like a balanced stash where it's not overwhelming, but I also have options and can kind of immediately have a project to cast on when I finish something else, things like that. But I don't want it to be like overwhelming, and I don't want to have to, a few years from now be like, okay, I'm not gonna buy any yarn until my stash is gone. Like, I don't want to have to deal with that. Not that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, of course. I just don't want to put myself in the position later on to feel like I have to bust my stash or whatever it's called, if that makes sense. So I'm trying not to buy any more yarn really right now, because I have so many things that I need to knit, and I was buying things faster than I could finish the projects that I was already working on. Oh, I I've dropped something. But there is something that I have been wanting to knit for a very long time, and they were having a sale at Purl Soho. This is why I buy so much Purl Soho, is because they're very effective with their marketing, because they'll pick a pattern, they'll market that pattern, and then they'll put the yarn for that pattern on sale, and you're like, oh, well, I want that, and the yarn is on sale, so I might as well get it. Anyways, though, for I think Valentine's Day, they were doing like a sale on all of their yarns, and it was 25% off of all their brand of yarn, and I really, really want to knit the half and half wrap, and so I bought some linen quill. And I really like the linen quill. Obviously, I used it for the Lento. It was very nice to work with. So I bought one for the bigger size of a wrap. And I'm really excited. I'm so excited because I want to knit more wraps and shawls. Just because they seem like so much fun to knit. So the colorways that I got, I paired the wheat flower, which oh my gosh, could you imagine like a sweater in this? So pretty. Okay, so I got the wheat flower, and then this one is it Lychee? Lychee? I don't remember how to say that. Lychee pink? But yeah, I thought, oh, I'm dropping it. I think these pair really beautifully together. I was debating, I was going back and forth. I put so many different color combinations in my cart, and I finally settled on these. So I'm excited. I think it'll make a really cute wrap, very spring appropriate. So yeah, I'm just so excited. And I was watching Inga from Knitting Traditions, and she was knitting one of these. I think she was knitting it in the woolly knit wool cones. It was like a beautiful, like, it was like beige and black or something. Oh, stunning color combination. But she was saying that she usually knits them with the linen quill, which is what the pattern calls for. And as soon as I saw her talking about it, I was like, I gotta cast that on soon. Like, I really want to knit that. And I know she said she knits it a little bit differently from the pattern, so I was going to knit it following the pattern, and then if I have any issue with the pattern or anything, if I knit a second one, I'll maybe try it the way that she does it. I think that she was following what someone else had done, and I think that person has a video on it. I'll have to kind of do some digging to figure out. But yeah, that was just something that I was looking into. Anyways, I think that's it. Oh no, wait, I have one more acquisition real quick. I did not buy this. This is actually a belated Christmas gift that my mom gave me. She wasn't feeling up to crocheting this during Christmas time, but it was supposed to be one of my Christmas presents, and she finally finished it. So it is this like crocheted kind of basket, like it is like it's got a round base, kind of hard to see. It's kind of a basket. It doesn't really stay up unless there's stuff in it, but yeah, it's just like a really, really beautiful little crocheted basket. And yeah, I like the colors that she picked. So I was thinking this will actually turn out to be a really great, I think, project to pack for the blanket as it gets bigger, because I think I'll have more space to put the blanket in as it works up. So I just wanted to share that though, because it's like, you know, I'm gonna use it as a project bag, so it's kind of cool. If you're curious about the pattern, I don't actually know what it is, but if you leave a comment, I'll figure out which pattern she used for it and let you know. But okay, so I think that's it for this podcast. Life update wise, don't feel like I have too much going on. Lately, I've really just been concentrating on trying to do as many things that I love as possible. Like, I've been knitting a bunch, I've been doing tarot card readings a lot. I have another channel where I do readings. If you're interested, I'll have it linked down below. But I've been, you know, putting some more time into that. I've been kind of back into writing a little bit. I was taking a kind of a break from writing because it was really stressing me out. But I last weekend I did a little bit of outlining work for one of my stories and one of my projects, and it was really nice to kind of get back into that story. It was one I was really stuck on for a while, and so the outline was like, I know I need to do an outline for it, but I was kind of dragging my feet to actually get the outline done. But I did start working on that again, so I'm going to continue to kind of work on that, and I've just been really in this mood of like just following whatever is kind of exciting in the moment. You know, in my free time, it's like if I feel like knitting, I'm gonna knit. If I feel like writing, I'm gonna write. If I feel like, you know, it's kind of whatever I feel like, and just, you know, allowing myself to kind of find a natural balance with all of my hobbies, because I do have quite a few that I really enjoy and want to spend time doing, which is why I decided to go more every 3 weeks, though I think I got sick, and this might be, I'm not sure how many weeks it's been since my last update, my last project, or my last episode, but yeah, I think I'm gonna do every 3 weeks going forward, just because I have been spending a little bit of time doing other things. Also, my camera just got dark again, but I feel like outside hasn't changed, so I'm not really sure what's going on, but I feel like it's a sign to call it, stop rambling. I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you're working on. I started this channel, or well, not this channel. I started making knitting podcasts to really hopefully connect with knitters. And I feel like I haven't really been able to do that yet. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you're working on. I'd love to chat with you guys. Yeah, I will see you in my next podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you are enjoying this content, make sure to subscribe before you go. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I hope you have an amazing day. Happy knitting, happy crocheting, crafting, whatever it is that you do. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you back here on my channel for episode 6 in about 3 weeks. Okay? Alright, I will see you guys soon. Bye!
Alright, this is a song that I wrote about falling too fast, but I wouldn't know anything about that.
I don't wanna lose my grounding, so you catch me not responding, and I press my lips together so you don't find any answers.